Welcome to Padel. Today we have a very special guest. I would call her a friend and also an example of community building plus a sportswoman. She is Andi Neugarten. Welcome, Andi.
Thank you, Rosa.
I don't know if I pronounced it well.
You did. You pronounced it right. It's a hard name to pronounce. So
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
So my first interaction with you was this past summer in Replay. It was during a tournament, and I think that was your exact atmosphere, right? Like the place where you feel at home, competition, sports, and getting better every day.
Absolutely. I think that's the most, the part about paddle that's attracted me the most is how you can work at it, and you can keep working at it, and you will get better. It takes time, but it's a commitment, and it motivates me. And so I think that's part of the attraction
Of
me.
paddle. But it's also risky because paddle at the beginning looks easy, and then improving is not that easy, right?
It takes time, but that's the commitment, you know. You just have to keep working at it, and the rewards will come, but it's a process.
Okay, so I would like to go back a little bit and get to know, how did you discover paddle?
Okay.
How was your first experience?
So I moved to Miami a couple of years ago. I was living in San Diego. You can hear I have an accent. I'm originally from South Africa, and I've been in the U.S. for like 22 years. But we moved to, just before the pandemic, we actually moved full-time to Miami. And about a year ago, so it was about a year and a half now, I'm a tennis player. I grew up with a tennis racket in my hand from the age of 4, played competitively my whole life, and stopped playing when I was about 15 or 16 years old. And then when I was in my 30s, my kids were playing, and I started playing the seniors again. So I still kept up my tennis. But in Miami, just over a year ago, I suddenly heard about these people who were playing this game called Padel. Never heard of it in my whole entire life. I was actually in the Bahamas at Albany Club, and I saw there was something going on with Padel, but I was very intimidated. I decided that I needed to try. The kind of personality I am, I'm always looking for something new, and if there's a racket involved, I know I have good hand-eye coordination, and I'm athletic, so I knew I'd love it. It was really, really hard to figure out where to play, how to get on a court, what level I was, how to get a lesson, because you have to be rated to get into your first lesson. And I'm not a beginner. I knew I wasn't a beginner, but I didn't want to just go and take a beginner class at the very beginning. So it was very intimidating.
Okay.
And I had to do some searching, like, where can I play? My very first experience was at Ultra.
Oh, wow.
I eventually found my way. I made a number of phone calls, found my way into a clinic at Ultra, and got my very first rating from, I think it was Fausto.
Okay, wow, Faustito, I like him a lot. Good to know. Because I was going to ask you, like, who was your first instructor? And it looked like it was Fausto.
Yes.
Wow, amazing. But it's been, I would say, like a long and a short way so far, right? Like, it's not that long since you've been playing, but you have a very relevant role right now in the community. What are you doing?
Well, it hasn't been that long. I started playing, and I realized that I did have some skills, but I had a long way to go. And when I started playing, I was mainly playing with guys because I was struggling. I couldn't find, I'm very competitive, and I want to get better as fast as I can. So I'm always looking for better players than myself. And I was playing with lots of guys, and I couldn't find lots of women to play with. I started playing in some tournaments, but there was always a struggle to find a partner. Sometimes
that happens to everybody, yeah?
It does. But
the partner thing is
just me. But I realized there was a need for something a little bit more. So I started creating my own little group of, at this stage my skills had developed, my rating had gone up, and I started creating this little group of women that we could play together every week. And it grew into a group of 20, all similar levels, and we were playing once a week at reserve, and just having like a round robin. And that was going really, really well. And then I decided, well, it's not just me. If we have this community of advanced women, we should make this into a little more of a community. And towards the end of last year, I went to one of the men's league matches, which was being held at Reserve Seaplane. And they had the 8th Sleep Miami Men's League, and I walked in there and I was completely blown away because it wasn't just the men playing some matches, it was a whole event.
Yeah.
And there was, number one, the pro players were playing as part of the teams. There was food, music, DJs, people watching. And I thought, why aren't we doing this for the women? Why is it only the guys?
Yeah.
So I went to the organizers of the men's league and I said, can we do this for women? And he said, I have no time. I said, well, do you mind if I start something? So
here we are.
Started Six Love Sports.
Okay.
And as part of Six Love Sports, it's all about a women's community of athletic, active, like-minded women who love playing paddle, but it's more than just about paddle.
Okay.
Six Love Sports is about community building, but networking and socializing and connecting women with each other. I always say that powerful, strong women make each other stronger and help each other grow. And I know you, I mean, I met you, I'm so happy to know what else you do off the paddle court. And it's the same way for this huge group of women in our community. Like, you're a mom maybe, you're a businesswoman, you're a professional. I think it's important to support each other.
Yeah, and I think it's part of the magic of Six Love Sports, right? Like, you start with playing one Thursday, then you get into the training with your group, and then magic things are happening right now in Miami because people get to know each other, so they want also to compete out of the league and maybe do some traveling and do something. So what are you seeing from Six Love Sports? What is becoming the community right now?
Well, it's really amazing to see because, like you said, so we started the league, and we'll talk about the league in a little bit, the format of that. But it's definitely created these groups where people are now meeting other players that they never knew existed at all levels. I mean, this is not just my little advanced group. This is intermediate, high intermediate, and they feel that they're part of something bigger. So they're having little satellite groups that now play together and have become friends. The thing about Six Love Sports and the league in particular, this was not a club-based
activity
at all. This is about the community of female paddle players in Miami, and I don't care which club you belong to. We all need to play together and get to know each other. So that's been a very big bonus, and go around to all the clubs because each club here is pretty special, and they all have something amazing about them.
It's true. So, but I've seen you mostly in ultra and reserve, right? Like, I don't know if it's like, I think it's part of your community building activities, but onboarding a lot of people.
Well, I became a certified Padel MBA coach during the summer, last summer, and it was kind of a selfish move. I wanted to learn more about paddle for myself. I wanted to network a little more and really understand the strategy behind the game. I've got lots of great shots, but the strategy is what really kills me, when to do the right shot. So I became a certified paddle coach, and I realized how much I love coaching. And I specifically love coaching beginner, men or women, but I mean, my passion is about getting women to start playing. So I coach at Reserve. Reserve is my happy place. It's a home. They've supported my league. They've supported me in a very special way, and I'm very grateful for that. But and that's the only place I coach. But I play. I take personally a lot of clinics at Ultra because I think they have a great variety of clinics. I played Real Paddle. I go to Paddle X. I go to Sunset. So you know, I really go where the games are.
Yeah, I think we are with Padel all very promiscuous, right? Because you want to play with different people, so wherever they call you, you go. Fine. This takes me to the league, right? What are the teams and how is it working?
So when I started the league, I kind of had this idea in my mind. It's a crazy thing when you start something. There's like been no barriers to this. It just kind of found its way. I had this idea, I had this plan, and here we are, a few months later, with this amazing community of women playing paddle every week in the league. So I started, and I got 4 team captains, and we I asked them to get 4 team names and each captain to find about 30 to 35 players for their team. So we have my team, which is the Bandeja Babes.
By the
I'm
way, it's the best
captain.
team because part of that. No, we have to demonstrate it in there.
And
The
then
court.
we have the Bandejetas, and Marilyn Grinda is the captain of that team. And then Team 30 Lovers and Sabrina Suarez is their captain. And then Team Viberas and Danny Quevedo is the captain. And what that did was, we're different ages, we're from different parts of the community, but it allowed those captains to bring in players from all over.
Mm-hmm.
So we each have about 35 players on the team.
Wow.
And through the course of the 7-week league, we each get to play the other team twice.
Okay.
And then at the very end, we'll have a final event on March 6th. Will be the final, and we'll have a nice big party and a league finale.
Wow.
The competition's tough. We have 3 different groups within the league. So there's an advanced group, a high intermediate, and then an intermediate group. And every week, each captain gets to put together their roster, and they have 18 players, so 9 teams, 3 advanced, 3 high intermediate, 3 intermediate, and we play at one of the reserve locations, either Seaplane or the new location at Salimia.
Very cool.
And every week is not just a league match. It's about, again, socializing and networking and interacting. We have food and wine, and this week we have a Lalo tequila bar and food from El Turco. So we try and innovate every week and do something a little bit different. This week we're also having a fashion show. So there's going to be lots of cool things. It's a Valentine's theme because it's Valentine's
It's true.
Day.
Wow. And but I think there's something that is part of your personality, but also the way you give back to community, and is trying to improve our skills and get better. So I think you are preparing something for the teams, right?
Well, there's lots of exciting things, but yes, I'm all about you do the work. You can't just walk onto the court once a week. You have to be doing the work in the background. So one of the things we have been doing is our weekly team practice, and we try and get a coach and do some match play and drills as well as working with a coach. But the most exciting thing that I have planned is from March 10th through March 14th. We're bringing the #1 women's coach in the whole entire world. She was top 10. She was #1 in the world for over 10 years, and she holds 10 FIP championship titles.
Yeah. Wow.
And her name is Isiar Montes. And we're bringing her with Mac Pádel to Reserve. She's going to be giving clinics every morning at Reserve Salimia, and then private lessons in the afternoon. And it's a very limited number of private lessons.
Yeah.
So rosters and notices are going to go out this week, and I'm very, very excited about this.
And I think it's a privilege. She's the national coach for Spain, the most laureate coach, women's or female coach in history. And also as a player, she's the one that has won the most World Cups too. So.
And of course, as you said, she is the national Spanish women's team national coach right now. So, yes.
So it's something not just a kind of a privilege for Miami, but for anywhere that someone plays paddle, having access to her, right?
Completely. So one of the big goals that I have with relating to this is all about women's paddle, right? And elevating and empowering women's paddle. And this is one of the ways that we can do that. My ultimate goal is that at some point we look up to the #1 women's paddle player in the world in the same way as you look up to Serena Williams.
Yeah.
And that she gets the same recognition. And I know we're way off that, but if we want to grow the sport of paddle in the way that everybody's talking about it, and we will be in the Olympics in the next few years, we have to start getting our young girls into paddle, and they have to have role models to look up to.
Totally.
So they have to look up to an Isiar Montes or a Delphi Brea, but they have to know who Delphi Brea is. You know,
it's true. Yeah, so having that spotlight on them, I think makes a difference.
Completely.
Not talking a little bit about you, I think you also compete for the US, right?
I was very lucky to be on the U.S. team at the Pan American Games this last November, and it's always a great experience and a true honor. I went to Spain, to Alicante, the World Championships, That was my very first experience. I play in one of the older age groups. I'm up there, so it's always a little more challenging to find a partner and travel to get the points. The whole USPA system is something that's in development as well. And part of creating this league and getting more women to play, I also have a bigger, not role, but a plan, because I feel that a lot of the women that I'm seeing are playing at a beautiful level, and they're not confident in their skills and their abilities. So they're happy to play tournaments like at the club level, but now you tell them, oh, it's a USPA event, they get nervous. And I'm saying to them, no, you're good enough, you can be fine. All these other girls are playing USPA tournaments, you'll be fine. So I want to get them, as part of the league, into playing USPA, grow the USPA, because then we'll have more players to select from when we compete internationally.
That I think it's a big challenge, but it's important to make paddle relevant, not just in the US, but also, I think we all share the dream of making it Olympic. But in order to get there, that's also a necessity. It's needed to show that to not just the FIP, but to the Olympic Committee.
Right.
So I was going to ask, what do you do on your spare time, but you don't have any of that.
That's a very good question. So
you have a family that from time to time they say, who is this woman that is around home?
Well, I have a husband and a dog at home here in Miami. My kids are grown, so they live all over the U.S., and I have some grandchildren and one on the way. So I travel a lot to see them. I'm very, very involved in their lives. But I'm just very, very active and athletic. I'm a lifetime athlete. I'm in the gym every single day, pretty much, 4 times a week.
Wow.
So I believe that it's not just what you do on the paddle court. I've been a runner my whole entire life.
Wow.
I'm struggling with a terrible knee injury right now. So I'm not running, but I'm on my Peloton right now, at least in the gym, doing some cardio, because the reality is paddle's not enough. It's a great workout, but you have to add on, and you have to keep yourself strong, and you have to stretch and do all those other things. And in my other spare time, we enjoy boating in Miami. We collect wine. I'm a big fan of beautiful champagne.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of wine tasting and entertaining and cooking.
Okay, great. And going back to paddle, when someone wants to start, you were saying that it's kind of challenging. They don't know where to start. You do like your own calls. What would you recommend to someone that is starting in order to not need to make all those calls, like a shortcut, in order to share the research you did and make it quicker?
Good question. It's definitely easier now, because now you can look up reserve and you can call and somebody will answer the phone.
Good.
A year ago, nobody was answering those phones, okay? And you maybe found a number you could text. Now there is a phone number. Look up online, call, look in your area and find out where there's a club. And if you have to just show up there and ask when there's a clinic, and just start. It's never too late to start playing paddle. And I think that's a very big message. Paddle's good for any age, and just get on the court. And when you arrive for your lesson, they will give you a paddle. You might have to pay $10. It's okay. Don't go out and buy a new one. Just go out, borrow one, and get on the court for your first lesson. From there, the rest is easy. You'll make some friends in your first lesson, and suddenly you're in a WhatsApp chat group with some other people who might be the same level as you, and suddenly you're playing a game and having coffee with some of the girls. So it takes off from there.
Yeah, and I've seen people like Jared that is learning Spanish just to play paddle, right? So it's kind of an addiction. Like you start with paddle and then...
You would think my Spanish was a lot better
No,
now.
I don't know.
No,
but
it should be. I need to learn some Spanish as well. That's good.
No, but I wanted to take you to... I know you were in Spain too. I don't know if you speak Spanish. We always talk in English. But you've also been visiting NAC. And when I visit your webpage, I see that it's not just the league. Six Love Sports has a more, let's say, wider view of paddle and women. So what's next for your Six Love Sports?
So I created the community because I wanted to show that we have this beautiful, amazing community here in Miami.
Yes.
On top of the league, there will be leagues across the rest of the country. So I'm going to create maybe a smaller format, but definitely the West Coast and parts of the Midwest have very vibrant paddle communities. So I'm targeting those next. And then I'm doing tournaments. So on March 15th at Reserve Solomia, we are about to launch a USPA 100, which is kind of the entry-level USPA event. It's targeted at intermediate and high intermediate players. And my events are going to be different in that when you show up and you sign up to play, you walk away with something more than just playing your matches. It's part of the community and the networking and socializing, but you get a nice goodie bag and, you know, some nice stuff.
Yeah, surprises, you cannot tell.
Relevant stuff, okay? So I think that's always important for me, is to walk away with something that was like, oh, that's really nice. So there are tournaments and the leagues, and I also have some travel opportunities planned and new ones in the pipeline. I think, you know, my life has changed so much since I started playing paddle. My poor husband, some of the time.
We want him to play. We want him to play.
He started playing, but not at the same level as me. But that's okay. But I think I want to go on vacation and play paddle. So I've put together some little packages. I went to NAC Club. I went to Marbella, and it was the most incredible experience. And there are other experiences like that in different parts of the world. Mexico has a great community and great access to coaches as well. So for me to be able to go somewhere for 5 days, have 5 intense days of paddle in the morning, beautiful food, some nice wine, great dinner, maybe a match in the afternoon, is a great way of traveling and meeting new people. So definitely some travel on the horizon. And then the next part of my plan is to reach out to the young girls, the young ladies of our community, and get them into playing paddle. And it's not a matter of, I say get them off the tennis court, but it's not get them off the tennis court. Maybe these are high school kids who are really good at tennis, but are never going to be college level tennis players. But they could be really, really good paddle players because they have that hand-eye coordination. So somehow funneling them to get to the course, and I'm not sure how yet. I need to clone myself or get some help, but that's on the horizon as well.
So. You need kind of some minions, right, to replicate.
Yeah, well, it's not this community is not about me. The community, I might be driving some things and some initiatives, but it's going to take all of us to build this and get paddle where we need it to go. So
no, but I think it's very important what you're saying about college level plus high school, because that's gonna make it more popular. Like to me right now it's still very high end. In Spain it started like that, and now after soccer is the most played sport in my country where I'm from. So even if you are good or not, you know the rules, you know what it is, you jump into court and play.
Yes.
Getting there, it's gonna take time. But I think it's what's going to make the USA excel in this sport.
I think, sadly, the US is so far behind in terms of that accessibility. There's so many courts in Spain, right? You can look, and inexpensive. And the price points here are just still way too high. So I have no idea how that's going to play out, because all these new clubs that have come in need the revenue, and they need to fill the courts. I don't know. But we have to make it more accessible so more people get on and experience this amazing sport.
Yeah, now that we have more courts in Miami, I think there's going to be a balance somehow, maybe with memberships and more activities. Before, it was a scarcity game. Right. So it was just having the court and let people do. Now it's more community building, engaging people, giving them lessons. And I think what Six Love Sports is doing is key in order to activate that. Like for clubs, it's important to have these kind of communities in order to be successful.
Right, and it's bringing more women into the sport and hopefully supporting all the clubs. You know, I think we live in this bubble in Miami, and certainly South Florida, where paddle's everything, right?
Yes.
And I can, in a 5-mile radius, I have 6 clubs that I can play at very happily. It's not everywhere.
Yeah.
And we need to, the reality is that this is very, very unique. I mean, even in San Diego, there's some new clubs opening, but there are only a couple. So accessibility is key.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure that when you travel, you check what's around and see where is the closest paddle court to where the place you are going.
I always do. It's not always convenient.
Yeah.
I went to San Diego last week. I'm originally from San Diego, and I got to play. And my friend has her own court there. I got to play. I was there for a day and a half, and I managed to get my early morning match in. And then I was in Dallas a few days last week, and I was dying to play. We were back to back, and I didn't have the.
There's nothing in Dallas?
No, there's lots. Okay. There's lots of. I was in Fort Worth, and Dallas was a little further away, and I just couldn't make it work. So.
Yeah, but once you get into this like very special drag, I think is more like a lifestyle sport or option.
When I go internationally, the first thing I do is I land, and I've looked or set up my lesson or something that it's also experiencing something new in a different country.
Good. So. Your favorite shot?
Oh my gosh. I have a couple actually. I love my bandeja. Mm-hmm. Not my bandeja, my vibra actually is my favorite shot. I've been working on it really hard. When I get
some vibra,
right, it's pretty amazing. But then the reality is, how many do you hit in a match?
Oh,
right? We just don't. So I actually love my lob. I work really hard on getting that lob deep and high, and when it works, it works. Okay,
and your favorite partner?
Oh gosh, I have a few. I recently played a tournament with Anna Magrini, and I absolutely loved playing with her. Anna happens to be one of my mentors.
Yeah.
She actually looked at me in the eye one day, and she kind of shook me up, and she said to me, "Andi, you need to relax, and you need to smile, because I'm so focused and I'm so motivated. I get angry at myself, and I realized that I wasn't actually having fun, because I was getting so down on myself when I made a mistake." And she said to me, she said, "When you make a mistake, your partner makes a mistake, laugh out loud. We all make mistakes." And that kind of really has changed my experience of paddle, where I'm not going to be number one in the world. I wish I was 20 years old, because that's what I'd be going after. But I can be really damn good, and I will be. But enjoy the journey, right? It's a process. So this is just going to take a few years, and enjoy it. So I love playing with Anna. But I do have some really good players and partners that I play with. Amila a lot, who's one of my very favorite and one of my special friends. So
that's great. And also about the coaches, who are your favorite, because I know it's very difficult to pick one, right?
So I feel like, some people say to me, you shouldn't be getting lessons everywhere. You should pick one coach and stick with them. But I do believe
that phases, right? Like, it depends.
Sometimes you get something from a coach in a different way, and they communicate in different ways. Mm-hmm. So I am very lucky to be taking lessons with Guga. He's the most phenomenal player, and I absolutely am very blessed. I mean, he's also part of Reserve, so very, very lucky about that. I take a lot of clinics with Julian at Ultra, and I love his clinics. He works me hard. It's a much more athletic, high-energy clinic, but with a lot of technical strategy, so I love that. And it's the men's clinics, so I'm always pushing myself. And then I take some lessons with Geordie. I do love, I think she's one of the finest players, and her knowledge of paddle is so phenomenal. So I learn a lot from her. I've recently started taking a couple clinics at Padel X.
Oh, good.
And Simone gives a really great clinic as well. So it's just sometimes, I'll add in something. Those are not my regulars, but...
Yeah. That's great. It's really good. And what's next for you? What do you expect this season?
Well, I'm going into a knee replacement in a few weeks' time. So I'm going to take a little bit of time off. Everybody says to me, you play too much paddle and that's why you're injured.
No, it's never too much.
It's never too much paddle. My injury is just, it's an age-related wear and tear, and osteoarthritis, bone on bone, which would have happened at some point. So I don't blame paddle. but I need to fix it so I can carry on playing. I'm playing with kind of one leg at the moment. So that's going to be probably 6 weeks. And then I have big plans for tournaments this summer. Six Live Sports is going to be at Racket X. We are doing a series of tournaments at Racket X in the convention center.
Excellent.
And I'll be sending out some information on that soon. So it's going to be a limited entry for a select, whoever, it's first come, first served, at 2 levels, probably intermediate and advanced level.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm planning that. We're going to do some exciting stuff at the Premier Pádel event here in Miami Beach, and also at the Miami Open. So that's all into March. And then we'll launch the second league in the second week of April.
Wow.
So I'm going to start sign-ups for the second league. And this league has been full.
It's a test,
every single day, and now I know what works, what doesn't work. But I'm getting people calling to sign up for the league every single day. So I think we're going to have a much larger group. We might change the format a little bit or add on some teams. But I'm very excited for the next league here in Miami, which will run just until before the summer because as
the weather
in the
here,
summer, everybody leaves, and then San Diego for summer.
Good.
Because the weather there is perfect in the summer, so people stay.
So next thing is conquering the West Coast. Well, here is like the tropical summer, right?
Yes.
Super interesting. So Andi, my conclusion here is that we need to clone you for sure, or we need to find you more people involved and helping you, because I think this is not just Andi's idea. Okay, it's your idea. Ideas are free. You are activating it, and that needs recognition and merit. But you are very welcoming. You're always looking for people that wants to join your train, jump into your idea, and help develop this community. So I'm very thankful because everybody was thinking about the Women's League and all that, but someone had to envision that, do the arrangement, put it all together, and activate it. And that's not that easy. So I think it has changed the way women approach paddle here in Miami. And I hope you can do it not just in the US, but on a wider, let's say globally, or somehow bigger than just the US.
I think we can. And I think what I definitely need here is I have the support. The women have stepped up and they're all involved, which is, I'm so thankful. But support in other ways. Like, do you want to get involved? Do you want to help? Like, I'm not making anything from this right now. I'm hoping it will be a business
at some point,
and there'll be money to share. But I definitely need people who want to get involved and are passionate about this, as passionate as I am. And I welcome any conversations because this is going to grow, and it's going to grow fast. And this is not just a paddle community. This is a community of amazing women that is going to be attractive to not just the paddle brands, but to a much wider audience.
Yes. So I think so. It's health, it's leisure, it's business.
Everything.
Like so many things that start just in the paddle court that they're changing lives. Okay, so thank you, Andi. See you later. We have a team training.
I know. I'm ready for training.
Let's see what happens this Thursday. Every Thursday there's a new adventure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.